My family bucket my golden sister after she slept with my boyfriend. So, I exposed them all and vegetarian leaves crumble around them. Alright, so this is going to sound like some crazy drama, but it's 100% what happened. And yeah, I don't regret it one bit. This all went down about 10 years ago, when I was 19. Back then, life was pretty good, or at least, I took it was. It was around the holidays, which also alle meant I did get to see all my family. But this particular Christmas, everything just fell apart. Picture this. I was dating this guy named Nick. He was my first real boyfriend, and he took we were pretty solid. You know how it is with your first love, you just assume it's going to last forever. We'd been together for almost 2 years. And yeah, I was crazy about him. I was that girl who talked, oh, we're going to get married, have kids, and live happily ever after. I had no reason to doubt him, because he always seemed so committed to me. Then Therese, my older sister, Claire. She's 2 years older than me, and was kind of like my role model growing up. I looked up to her for basically everything. She was smart, popular, and just had her life together, or so I took. We used to hang out a lot, too. So, when Nick and I started dating, I introduced him to her pretty early on because, you know, I wanted them to like each other. Big mistake. But I'll get to that in a minute. Fast forward to Christmas. My family had this big get-together planned, but the vibe was weird from the start. I couldn't put my finger on it, but the mating felt off especially with Claire. She was acting kind of distant. And Nick was buying. I don't know. Sketchy. Like, just not himself. My good was telling so mating was up, but he didn't want to believe it. I mean, you don't expect your own sister to be shady, right? Anyway, a few days after Christmas, I found out exactly what had been going on. And when I found out, I literally walked in on them. Yeah, I walked into Claire's room to borrow her streiktene or so mating and ihre wäre. Nick and my sister, marking out like 2 teenagers at prom. My heart just stopped. It was one of those moments where time kind of freezes, you know, like you can't believe what your eyes are seeing. I didn't even say anything at first. I just stood there, staring at them, trying to process what was happening. I mean, what do you even say in a situation like that? They didn't notice them for a good few seconds. But then Nick looked up and froze. Clary too. And the look on her face, she looked like a deer in headlights. There was no denying what was going on. It was right there in front of me, my boyfriend, and my sister. I just remember feeling this wave of honor, sadness, and shock all at once. My chest felt tight, and he took he was going to throw up. I managed to croak out the mating like, "Are you serious?" And then he just bolted out of the house. I didn't know where he was going. I just needed to get out of there. My mind was racing, and my heart was shattered. The 2 people he trusted the most had stabbed me in the back, and he didn't know how to handle it. Later that night, my parents found me. I'd been sitting in my car for what felt like hours, just crowing and trying to make sense of everything. When they knocked on my window, I talked, finally, they're here to comfort me. But no, they didn't. Instead, they told me to calm down and think rationally. Rationally. Seriously. They tried to convince me that these things happen, and it's just argy. But it wasn't just about Nick. It was about Claire, my sister, betraying me in the worst way possible. They kept saying things like, family is family. You have to forgive her. Like what the hell? How was he supposed to forgive her for this? I was furious. I felt like he had been tossed aside, like my feelings didn't even matter. It got even worse when Claire had the nerve to come to me and say, "I'm sorry, but we didn't mean to hurt you. Nick and I just have feelings for each other." Feelings for each other? Are you kidding me? They'd been sneaking around behind my back, and now they were in love? I couldn't even look at her. I told her she was that to me, and said I never wanted to see her again. And I meant it. But of course, my parents weren't having it. They kept pushing the whole family forgiveness thing, saying it was been dramatic. My dad actually told me to grow up. My own dad. It felt like he was losing my entire family in one go. I couldn't believe it were seeding with hair. It was like he didn't matter at all. I lost my boyfriend, my sister, and now, my parents too. I was alone for months. I didn't know how to cope. I was depressed, and just numb. I stopped talking to everyone. I go to work, come home, and just stay in bed. I say until I couldn't anymore. The only person I really had during that time was my best friend, Sam. She was the one who made sure I was eating, made sure I was getting out of bed, but it wasn't enough. I couldn't check the feeling that I was worthless. Like my bete were right, and I was just bein dramatisch. Eventually, I got too much for me. One night, I just broke. I did stay away out of the pain. And I took the only way to make it stop was to end it. But I wasn't naive. I knew the pain of what my family had done would always. Bitter, somewhere in the background. It was like a scar. It would fade over time. But it would never fully go away. I didn't need them. I had my grandparents. I had them. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was building a life that was actually mine. Update 1. So, after everything went down and the dust started to settle, you'd think life would just go back to normal, right? But it didn't. Not even close. I was living with my grandparents, which was honestly the best thing that could have happened. But the volumes with my family and Claire still wait on me. I guess you don't just move on from that kind of betrayal easily. My therapist was really helpful, so I wrote this long letter explaining everything. About Claire. About Nick. About how betrayed he felt by everyone. And he scheduled to post on Tumblr after I was gone. 10. I swallowed a bunch of pills, lay down, and just waited for it all to be over. But Sam, being the amazing person she is found me. She called 911, and he gets got to me just in time. Because he woke up in the hospital the next morning. He was groggy and confused, but he was alive. They put me on suicide watch after that. And honestly, it was the best thing for me at the time. I needed help. I needed to be away from everything and everyone who had hurt me. My grandparents were the only ones who visited me while I was there. Not my parents. Not Claire. Just my grandparents. They did to force me to forgive anyone. They just sat with me, let me talk, and actually listened. They sabet me in more weistan one. They picked me up when I got disargued, and took me to life with them. I could have everyone else. And for the first time in months, I felt like my way could start to heal. So, after I got out of the hospital like I said before, my grandparents took me in. I can't even explain how grateful I am for them. They did to force anything. Did push me to talk about stuff if I wasn't ready. They were just here for me. I was still struggling a lot mentally, but for the first time. I felt like I had some kind of support system. Even though I was safe and in a better environment, the fallout from everything was just getting started. I had completely cut off my parents and Claire. I blocked them on everything, Facebook, Instagram, my phone, all of it. I didn't want to hear a single word from them. I was done. They didn't care about me when I needed them, so we schuld But while I was trying to heal and move on. My best friend Sam was out there, pissed off on my behalf. She was fuming about what happened and wasn't going to let them off the hook so easily. I didn't know it at the time, but Sam was planning here on little revenge. One day, out of nowhere, she texted me. I did so mating, but I think you'll like it. I was like, oh, what did you do? She goes, don't be mad, but I shared your notice when you posted on Tumblr. I made sure everyone saved. I was kind of shocked at first. Like, I didn't want to air my dirty laundry to the world. you know? But the more he talked about it, the more he was like, screw it. If te didst care about ho tema de feel, BHY should he care if people know what te did? And when he say Sam shared it, I mean. She taked my parents. Claire. Nick. She went full Savage. The post went viral within our little circle. Sam had over 2,000 friends on Facebook, and people started sharing it like crazy. I had no idea how many people knew about what happened. Until I started getting texts from random high school friends, old coworkers, even people I barely knew. Eveliona was coming out of the woodwork to tell how messed up my family was. How much they felt for and how they couldn't believe Claire and Nick did what they did. But that wasn't even the craziest part. It wasn't just people I knew who were mad. It was people they knew. My mom had this reputation in her church as being this perfect, wohlesome lady. And when people in her congregation saw what happened, they were furious. They actually kicked her out of the church. Like, straight up told her she wasn't welcome anymore, because of how she treated me. Imagine getting excommunicated from your own church over the meeting like that. I heard she tried to apologize or explain herself, but nobody wanted to hear it. She got labeled a hypocrite, and that was it for her social life. My dad, he lost a ton of his friends. They were disgusted by how he did that with Claire and how he told me to just get over it. Some of his closest friends just straight up cut him off. People saw him as cold, heartless guy, and they didn't want to be associated with him anymore. And Claire, oh man, Claire got it the worst. I don't even know how she managed to leave the house after what Sam posted. People were calling her a homewrecker, a backstabber, you name it. Some of her closest friends stitched her. It didn't want a nothing to do with someone who would betray her own sister like that. I heard she even got into arguments with people in public, like at the grocery store, because the people would recognize her and call her out. I'm not going to lie. Part of me was happy to hear she was getting what she deserved. It was like the universe was finally giving her a taste of what she'd done to me. Nick wasn't off the hook either. His family is super religious. Like, go to church every Sunday religious. And when they found out what he'd been doing with Claire behind my back, they freaked. His parents sent him away to Sommerretreat or some meeting to find God again. He was gone for months. And when he came back, he and Claire had broken up. I don't know the details, but I can guess he probably couldn't handle the backlash, and it drove a wedge between them. Good riddance. During all of this, I was just trying to focus on myself. My grandparents had gotten me into therapy, and I was starting to make some progress. It was slow, but I was getting there. I wasn't interested in what was going on with my family or how miserable they were. At least, that's what I told myself. But deep down, hearing about how their lives were falling apart kind of felt like justice. Like they finally understood what they put me through. It was messed up, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel good. One day my grandma sat me down and said, "Your mom tried to call. She wants to talk." I just rolled my eyes. WHY would I want to talk to her now? She didn't care before, so WHY does she care now? My grandma just nodded and said, "I know, honey, but I wanted you to know." I talked about it for a second. Was I curious? Yeah, a little. Did I care enough to actually reach out? Absolutely not. My mom had made a hairbait, and now she had to lie in it. I wasn't about to give her the satisfaction of thinking she could just come back into my life after ever eating she did. It wasn't just my mom trying to reach out, either. Claire had sent me a message on Instagram. Yeah, I forgot to block her there. She was trying to apologize, saying how sorry she was and how she never meant to hurt me. I didn't even read the whole message. I just deleted it and blocked her. I had nothing to say to her. In my eyes, she was still dead to me. After that, things started to quiet down. The frenzy around Sam's post eventually died down, and people stopped talking about it. But the damage was done. My parents were basically social pariahs. Claire had to move to another town because she couldn't handle the constant reminders of what she'd done. Nick was gone out of my life for good, and honestly, I was fine with that. Living with my grandparents was the best thing that could have happened to me. Te gav space to heal. Te did pressure to forgive anione. I started to feel like myself again. Like I could actually move on from overeating. During this time, she wasn't so miracle worker or anything, but she helped me figure out how to process anger and sadness, without letting it eat me alive. It's weird, because even Tuki had completely cut my parents and Claire off. They still found ways to creep back into my two cooks. I would randomly start thinking, how could they do this to me? How could my own family choose her over me? Even when I didn't want to care, it was always Tara. You know, it's hard to explain. I tried to focus on rebuilding my life. I got a new job, made so many new friends, and even started going back to school part-time. For a while, I was just doing whatever I could to distress myself. I wasn't trying to deal with any of the feelings I had toward my family. I took that if I just kept myself busy, maybe I could forget about it all. But yeah, that's not how things work. So, one night, I was scrolling through Instagram. Just mindlessly, like you Donnerstag. And I stumbled on a post from one of my cousins. I hadn't really kept in touch with that side of the family since the overeating blew up. But curiosity got the better of me. I clicked on the picture, and there it was. A family reunion. Everyone was there. Smiling. Having a great time. Everyone except me. Now don't get me wrong, it wasn't like I wanted to be at that reunion. There is no way in hell I would be gonna, even if they backed me. But seeing that picture made me realize just how much I'd been cut out of their lives. It was like I didn't exist anymore. My family had gone on without me and they didn't seem to care. It was like I'd been a acid. That hit me harder than I took it would. I ended up venting to Sam about it the next day. And she was like, screw them. You're better off without people like that. You've got your own life now. And she was right. I knew that. But still, it stung. I didn't even realize how much I still cared, until I saw that stupid Instagram post. It wasn't that I wanted to be close to them again. It was more that I couldn't believe how easily they had moved on. Like nothing ever happened. But things got wilder after that. About a week later, my dad Khaled. Yeah, my dad. The same one who told me to grow up and take back Claire after overeating she'd done. I didn't pick up, obviously. I let it go to voicemail. And when I listened to it later, he was basically begging me to talk. He said stuff like, we've been thinking about you, we miss you, we want to make things right. For a second, I talked about calling him back. But then I remembered what happened the last time I tried to talk to them. The gaslighting. The guilt trips. The way they made me feel like I was the problem for not forgiving Claire. I couldn't go through that again. So, I blocked her number. After that, my mom tried reaching out too. She sent this long email about how she was sorry for overeating and wanted to rebuild our relationship. The funny thing is she never actually apologized for anything specific. It was all vague stuff like, I'm sorry you feel hurt. And, we're a family, we need to come together. It didn't feel real at all. Like she just wanted to smooth things over without taking any responsibility. I didn't respond. I didn't even bother reading the whole thing. To be honest, I just forwarded it to my therapist and deleted it. Because I knew, if I let myself engage with them again, I'd just fall back into the same toxic dynamic, and I was finally starting to get my life together. I wasn't about to let them pull me back down. It's crazy how much cutting off toxic people can change your life. Once I finally let go of the idea that my family would ever be there for me, things started to get better. I mean, it wasn't perfect or anything. I still had bad days. But I was free. No more worrying about what they took of me. No more bending over backwards to make them happy. It was just me, living my life, doing my own thing. But then, so meeting happened that really messed with my head. One day, I was at the grocery store, just minding my business. And who do I run into? Claire. Yeah, Claire. I hadn't seen her in over a year, and I didst plan on it either. But Teresche was standing in the producer section, looking just as shocked as I was. Wie just kind of stot Tere, staring at each other for a minute. I was about to turn around and walk out, but then she came over to me. She started talking really fast, like she was desperate to get away eating out before I could leave. She was crying, saying how much she regretted away eating, how she missed me, how her life had fallen apart since I could hear of. Honestly, I didn't know what to say. I was angry, but I also felt this weird sense of pity for her. She looked terrible, like life had really knocked her down. She kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, over and over. But it didn't really matter. It was too late. Tere was nothing she could say to make it right. I just stood Tere, letting her ramble, until I finally said, I don't hate you, but I don't want you in my life either. And then I walked away. She did take to stop me. She just stood Tere crying while I left. It was weird, because I took that saying here would make me angrier, but it didst. If I knew thing, it made me realize how far I come. I wasn't that sad, broken person anymore. Claire and my parents didn't have any power over me now. I was done with them. For good this time. After that, I didn't think about Claire or my parents as much. It was like that last encounter gave me the closure I didn't even know I needed. I moved on with my life. And yeah, it's still not perfect. But it's mine now. I'm in control. I got my grandparents. My friends. Sam. They really need. If my family wants to fix things, that's on them. But as far as I'm concerned, they're not a part of my life anymore. And honestly, I'm okay with that. Update 2. So, after running into Claire at the grocery store and walking away from her, I took the finally closed the door on all that family drama. I was moving on, focusing on my own life and just trying to live without all that mess hanging over me. I mean, I wasn't really thinking about so much anymore, which felt like a win in itself. But then the meeting happened that tray were eating back in my face. It was a regular Friday night. I was just chilling at home with Sam, watching some random Netflix show and eating takeout, when I got this weird call from an unknown number. Now, normally I wouldn't even bother answering unknown numbers, but the meeting in MA just said, pick it up. So I did. On the other end was the ski. He was kind of shocky and didn't introduce himself right away, which immediately made me think it was a scam or some telemarketer. But then he says, hey, it's Nick. Nick, as in, my ex. I hadn't heard from him in years. Not since his family shipped him off to find Jesus or warte for after the whole thing with Claire. I didn't even know what to say. Part of me wanted to just hang up. But curiosity got the better of me. So I'm like, what the hell do you want? He hesitates for a second, and then goes, I need to talk to you. It's important. Important after all this time. I wasn't bullying it. But before I could tell him to screw off, he starts going on about how his life has been since the ever eating happened. How he regrets what he did. And how he wants to apologize properly. I could hear the desperation in his voice. And for a split second, I felt bad for him. But then I remembered how much hate hurt me. How much tight bot hurt me. And he just wasn't in the mood to reopen that wound. I told him, look, Nick, I will move it on. I don't care about your apology. Whatever happened between you and Claire, or whatever regrets you have thoughts on,